Hello, trainers. Professor Palm here. Good to see you all after Thanksgiving weekend. I hope that it's been a good one for each and every one of you. It's good to be back in Unova. I had a nice time in Johto with my family, but I hope that all of you are having a good day. What are you doing for Thanksgiving weekend? I'll just be here for a little bit until others come into here. Oh, hello, Sparkles. Good to see you. How are you? Did you have a good Thanksgiving? All I want to say is just thank you all. It's just hard to believe that this whole year has just really just flown very fast. I just kind of wanted to do a little bit of talking to all of you to understand what I should do next year for videos. I like doing my plushie videos, but, you know, I was thinking maybe I could do a couple of new things that I haven't done this year. Like, one thing I was thinking of, for an example... Oh, good Thanksgiving was great. I'm glad that you had a really good Thanksgiving. What was your favorite thing that you got to eat? For me, I just have to say my favorite thing was definitely the stuffing. My mom really knows how to make a great stuffing. If there's anyone else out there that has anything that they want to say, or I'm always happy to hear whatever anyone else wants to talk about. I'm glad that your Thanksgiving was really good, Puffy Sparkles. I guess a few ideas I have for next year is that I do have an idea for something I'm going to do called Region versus Region. I just thought it'd be fun to compare two different regions, and the remakes would also count as well because, you know, some regions do get remakes versus ones that don't, but it would only be if it was like two different ones that already were remade. Like, for example, I thought maybe next year if I do region versus region, I can, like, what are we going to do right here? We're going to do the Kanto region versus the Johto region, the two regions that are linked to one another. I just think that would be fun to just, like, compare and contrast, like, which region is the better one between the two of them. I mean, I just think it'd be an idea. We've always, like, we've been to so many different regions. I think that doing two different regions, one against another, would be fun. Of course, I definitely would do a ton of research to see what makes each region different. Oh, hello, new friend. How are you? I just think that, like, just starting off would be a good way. The first two, Gen 1 and Gen 2. Of course, we do Gen... Ooh, I got a lot of people watching. That's pretty nice to know. So, how is everyone doing today? I'm happy to talk to as many of you as I can. Oh, nothing really. Just talking about what I think I might try to do next year. My thing I was talking about was region versus doing the Johto region versus the Kanto region. I just think that that would be a fun thing to do. But, hey, it's up to other people what they would think about. I mean, the reason I want to do Johto versus Kanto is because it's the first two regions together, and it seems like it just seems like a fun idea, just to talk about two regions that are truly linked together, since the Tojo Falls is what puts both Kanto and Johto. And at the same time, there's a lot of people out there that started with the Johto region and the Kanto region. So I guess it's a fight for the first one. Of course, don't get me wrong, also I'm planning to do Sinnoh versus Hoenn as well as versus Unova, because I think it would be a lot of fun to do for which... I think it'd be fun to do the peak regions. Don't get me wrong, every region is... Sometimes there are some regions that some people think are better than the others. Like a region that you really like, that you'd like to see go against another one. I just think it'd be really cool to see... One second. It'd be really cool to see... Let me try putting it together. Let's see. It'd be fun to have the Hoenn region versus... Just got these two together. Hoenn versus Sinnoh. I think it would be a fun idea because if you really think about it, when it be from Hoenn against Sinnoh, it's kind of like which region... It's kind of like a region that changed it up forever. If you think about it, the Hoenn region changed everything forever. We now had the Game Boy Advanced era. And of course, the... which one is it? The Sinnoh region also changed Pokemon forever. That was the first one on the DS. And until Gen 7, that's how we had so many games in DS style. Let's see. Oh, if I was to do a video on the Pokemon Sun and Moon region. Oh, you mean the Alola region? Yeah, I could probably do something like that in the future. It's just that, for now, I just... Maybe in the future I'll do in retrospect of the Alola region. If you think about it, it almost been 10 years, and I also am planning next week to do an in retrospect of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, since a lot of us really love that region. I mean, I talked about Hoenn, and a lot of us really like Hoenn. Hoenn is a region that is unlike so many others. It was the one that not only changed everything up, but at the same time, it really did try to put in a brand new lore for a lot of people. I don't know, sometimes it's a lot of fun to look back at something. Also, it was the last remake in the 3D era, on the 3DS and 2DS, that is. Yeah. What's going on here? Does anyone have any other region that they really like to talk about? I mean, there's so many stories to talk about. I'm also planning on doing some Pokemon lore videos in the future. Of course, I'm going to have to get the plushies for them, but I have almost every one of them for the Sinnoh region, and Sinnoh is a good place to start, as that was the very first region to ever have a lore to it. I was also considering about doing a whole video about who really is the #1 Pokemon. Like, we already know that there's a lot of things that we have. Rhydon, Bulbasaur, Mew, and Arceus, but I thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of research and think, who is the true #1? Oh, well, please, I'm glad your friend liked my channel. Please recommend me to her. I'm always happy to meet as many subscribers as I can. Is there anything that you'd want me to... Oh, for Pokemon Festive Idea. I am doing a very special video for the holidays. Well, for Christmas-wise. I'm definitely going to wear my Santa hat again, and I'm definitely going to talk about special Pokemon for that video. What's a Pokemon line I'm going to talk about? I'm not going to give any hints right now, but I will tell you one thing that I am very excited about. Anyone recognize this? This is the Pokemon holiday calendar. So every day for December, I'm going to open this up as a short. We're going to find out what comes out of it. Sometimes there are just a few things that come out that aren't all great, but I thought it'd be a lot of fun instead to, you know, maybe we'll add like a pack of cards or something else that would be fun to get out of it. I did it last year, and a lot of you really seem to enjoy it. So yeah, I really cannot wait to open this again. I'm going to start probably tonight because, you know, 1st of December. So we're going to have 25 days of Christmas. Do any of you remember that from the ABC, before it became Freeform, how they always had 25 days of Christmas? What are your favorite Christmas movies of all time? Oh, thank you, Puffy Sparkles. Tune in at 12 o'clock every time I'm going to post one. I'm going to call it like day one. I did the same thing for the the trick or trade thing. I did that at night because I like doing that at night because it just seems fun to call it like night because, you know, during the night, Halloween nights is when things get scary. Oh, Home Alone. Yeah, Home Alone. That's a great holiday movie to watch. I love that one as well. I'd say that the first movie is better, but I will say I think the traps in the second movie were a lot better. Mainly because Kevin McAllister got to... There was like a wider way he could go, that he was in an abandoned apartment complex, so there was more of a variety for him to work with. It's pretty fun. Anyone else out there have anything that they like to do for Christmas? Does anyone have any Christmas, what are they called? Traditions? Do you like making cookies at this time of the year? Do you like watching movies? Like dressing up? I know that I'm planning to get myself an ugly sweater for my holiday video. I'm really excited to get one of those. I'm going to buy one on Pokemon Center, probably. The one I'm looking at is probably right now the... Which one is that one called? What's that one called I'm looking at? The one I'm looking at is the Zoroark one. I don't know. Just seems like fun to talk about. I was also thinking about maybe doing another top 10 list again. The one I was thinking about doing last year that I never got around to doing was top 10 water-type moves. I just thought that would be a fun thing to talk about for Summer Smash. You know, sometimes it's... What's this? Pokemon-based holiday. That's a good one, Puffy Sparkles. Do you have a favorite Pokemon for the Christmas time or based one? Yes, there is one Pokemon that I like talking about for the holidays. Unfortunately, I don't have it with me yet. I will have it, and I am covering it this time. I do like Stantler and Weirdeer also. As much as I want to do them, I have to wait to get a Weirdeer plushie. Weirdeer is just so cool. I mean, if I am to be honest right now, I'm kind of annoyed that Pokemon Legends Arceus did to us. Being that they introduced so many really cool Pokemon to us and then said, oh yeah, these can't be evolved into in future games. That just drove me insane. I mean, Weirdeer is amazing, And now we have, like, Weirdeer was really cool. Hisuian Braviary was fun. It's kind of sad to think you get all these great things and then everything just goes poof. Never to be seen again. Oh well. It happens sometimes. Does anyone else out there have a favorite Christmas Pokemon or something related to it? When I think of Christmas, I do think of Ice-type Pokemon. Ice-type Pokemon are awesome. It is kind of hard to believe we actually have the least amount of Ice-type Pokemon of any other typing. At one point, Ghost and Dragon were the scarce of them, as we only had 4 between the first 2 regions. And now, with 9 different regions we've had, Ice-type are still very scarce to find. Okay, I got a weird question for all of you. What if we got a really cool spin-off game? Like maybe Mystery Dungeon, maybe Ranger or something like that. But what if we got a really cool spin-off game that had a brand new Pokemon introduced in it that had never been seen before and that could never be obtained, but could only be found if traded from that other game? I think that would be like really cool and also make it really annoying. But we did get that thing with Meltan, if I think about it. Meltan was only on Pokemon Go, and you could only trade that from Pokemon Home to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Fortunately, I just wish that we had more that appeared like that. It was pretty fun when we did have Pokemon. What's this? Yeah, Pokemon Ranger. That's when we got Manaphy. That was in, I think that was original Pokemon Ranger. It could be Pokemon Ranger, Volmaya. It's been a while since I've played the Pokemon Ranger games. I love them. I'm actually kind of sad that Pokemon Ranger hasn't gotten a second life. I mean, when I look back at all this, we got new Pokemon Snap, we got Mystery Dungeon to come back for the Switch. I'd be down if they actually brought back Pokemon Ranger. Well, that we are going to get the Switch 2 possibly next year. I'd be really happy if we got that for Pokemon, what's it called? If we got a new Pokemon Ranger for the next Switch. It'd be kind of fun to actually have it, like, different. Instead of being... I think maybe it'd be fun to go to a different region. It'd be fun to finally leave from Gens 3 and 4 and maybe go to Gen 9 or, I don't know, maybe a different thing. It's been a while since I've seen Pokemon Ranger. Games were good, though. Though I do remember never finishing Guardian Signs, and that one was really awesome. I always wonder, though, do you think that there should have been a better... Do you think that some characters that we meet in the spin-off games should also eventually come to... What's that place called? The core series games? Like Professor... What's her name? Burnett. For those of you who don't know, Professor Burnett actually appeared in Gen 5 in the Pokemon Dream Radar. If you were thinking, yeah, check it out, she actually did appear there. I remember that game because my friends taught me how to play it. It was fun. Unfortunately, we've never had another game such as that also. Does anyone have any other questions of anything that they'd like to know or stuff that we could probably cover for the future Pokemon? I don't know. I just want to see what a lot of people have to say. Sorry if I'm being boring. Just, I don't know what other things to say. Yeah. I know that it's never really going to happen, but it would have been really cool if we did get to... I like that Puffy Sparkles. I wish... It'd be a cool Easter egg if they would appear in yeah, it would be really cool. I kind of wish that some characters that were anime original only would appear in the core series games. It'd be really cool if we got characters like Zoe, who was Don's rival, or even Paul. It'd be really fun if those guys appeared. Unfortunately, I don't think that's ever going to be a thing, but if it does, really cool. Another thing I think that would also make the region... You know what I really think we should also think about? I know it's only 2025 next year, but I'm kind of looking forward to 2026. Because that'll be the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. If we get to 30 years of Pokemon, do you think that's when we should get Generation 10? I think that would be a really good idea. Because getting to Generation 10 would be, in 30 years, would be amazing. That, look how far it's gone. When Pokemon first started, I don't think they knew it was going to be this big as it to be. Wow. Kind of is crazy to think it's been 30 years since Pokemon first launched. Guess we'll find out next year for Pokemon Day, which is almost 2 months away. I'm kind of curious also about Pokemon Legends Z to A. I mean, I'm glad that Pokemon took a nice year to just, like, calm things down and be like, not have anything leak out. I applaud them for that, but I got to admit, I guess like with a lot of us, we've all gotten a little bit impatient kind of waiting for any come out of Z to A. I kind of want to know, what is the story to Z to A? Our future? Are we in the past? Like, it's just kind of like eating at you a little bit, being like, I want to know what happens next. I guess I should be happy for them because they decided to finally keep things under wrap. But at the same time, it gets a little annoying the more you wait around. I do know that, I think what we all know is that in the future, if we do have anyone, when we get a new Pokemon game, we're definitely going to get some spoilers ahead. I mean, it's not the worst when we get some spoilers out there, like maybe like a day or a week in advance, so we're at least prepared for what's to come. But when it's like several months away, that's when it's annoying. As much as I did love Sun and Moon, I gotta admit, seeing what the final evolutions of the starters were when they were leaked online was kind of annoying. But I guess for some of us, it was a good thing because whatever we were going for, we were kind of just really curious to know what the final evolution will be. I mean, some of us wanted to go for Popplio, and I guess some of us were not the happiest with Primarina, but I'm one that actually really liked Primarina. What do you think the start should be for Legends Z to A? Do you think it should just be the same Kalos starters? Or do you think that it should be different starters? Oh, and they should have Colossean forms. Whatever it's going to be. I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen, but it'd be great if we got Colossean forms again. What region do you think actually introduced the best regional variants? Do you think it was Alola, Hisui, what's the other one called, Galar? I'd like to say Paldea, but I don't think Paldea really counts as we only got like 2 regional variants. Though we did get Convergent Poke, pretty cool. I kind of wish we got way more than what we got. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was cool to get Toad's Cool, as well as Wiglet, Wigtrio, as well as the Sinistcha and Sinistra, but I kind of wish we got more than that. You know what also would have made the idea of, what's that thing called? Convergent Pokemon, how also I think it could have worked if it also had with how Pokemon turned when they terastallized. Of course, they get that down on their head saying that I'm a different typing. But what if the convergent species is how they turned when they changed typings? That would be a really cool thing. Like, you change your Pokeball and you turn Tentacool into Toedscruel, and then there it is. Now it's a grass type. I think that would have been a really cool idea. I mentioned something like that in retrospect in Scarlet and Violet. I think Scarlet and Violet were solid entries in the Pokemon franchise, but I do kind of wish that we got some more stuff out of it. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad we got the DLC with everything, and it was great to see other stuff happen. Oh, what's this? Randomon Pokemon, please, but not Lucario. Huh? I'm sorry, I do not follow that. Okay, then. If you're talking about Lucario, yes, I got a Lucario with me. It's actually one of my favorite Pokemon. Yep. Lucario is my all-time favorite Pokemon. What are some of your favorite Pokemon? Also, when it comes to Pokemon, who do you think has the Who do you think has best shiny and who do you think has the worst shiny? I think that, in my opinion, I think my favorite shiny Pokemon is Hawlucha. I love Hawlucha because I'm a bird trainer, but at the same time, Hawlucha just has such a cool shiny, how that thing just goes the complete opposite direction. That makes it look so cool. But if there are any Pokemon that you really like, which ones do you like? Also, if you could redesign some Pokemon with different shiny, what would you go for? Oh, thank you. Very nice, to Fluttershy. Glad that you came to support. Is there any questions you want? Fox. Oh, yeah. Actually, Lucario is based on a jackal. If you didn't realize, Lucario is based on the ancient god of death, Anubis, from what's it called? Egyptian mythology. I gotta say, Anubis is one of my favorite gods I learned about in mythology class, so this is the reason I love Lucario so much. Not just is it my favorite Pokemon, but it's a Pokemon I really trust. I have raised so many in my life. It looks like Anubis. Oh, thank you, Pokemon fan. Have a good day, friend. Yeah, Anubis is a really good Pokemon. Ha! Weavile. I do not have Weavile. I want to cover that one. Eventually, I will cover that episode, do that for an episode, and trust me, I'm going to make that a real episode. I guess I might go with the title, Naughty and Ice. It's okay if you don't like the title, I just thought it'd be a funny thing to call it. But yeah, Weavile is a great one. Fun fact, Sneasel is the fastest Pokemon that can evolve. Do you know that? If you actually look at Sneasel's stats, it's the fastest Pokemon alive, capable of evolution. I gotta say that's pretty impressive for that Pokemon. And if you didn't know that, if you also didn't know that, Sneasel was also one of the first Dark-type Pokemon to have a signature move, Beat Up. And seeing that Pokemon moves so fast, it does make sense why it would have a move called Beat Up. I kind of wish that Sneasel got more love back in Gen 2 than it did as it went forward. I'm glad we got Weavile as time went on, but I kind of wish we got more love of it. I will admit, though, I really do think Sneasler is a great Pokemon. For those of you who like it, I guess because I watched a lot of Demon Slayer with my cousin, that's kind of why I liked Sneasler so much, because I kind of felt like Nezuko in that like little box when you were just on its back. Can you like name who's stronger than Mewtwo? There's plenty of Pokemon who are stronger than Mewtwo. Two Pokemon that terrify Mewtwo back in the day would have been Sableye and Spiritomb, mainly for the fact because they had absolutely no weakness. Now they are weak to Fairy typing, which definitely messed it up. But I guess another line would be much stronger than the Mewtwo would be Eelektross, as well as Tynamo. Currently, that is the only Pokemon line to date to have absolutely no weakness, because they have a really good move, a really good ability of Levitate. If you also think about it, Iono put that to the test also when she used that with her Mismagius. I gotta admit though, this is terrifying. And I even gotta admit, that is honestly a Pokemon that is really scary. Back in the day of Platinum, that thing was a nightmare to take on, especially Frontina's gym battle. While she was gym leader number 3, she really proved how hard that Pokemon can go. I gotta admit though, I mean, there's a reason why that Pokemon was so tough. Because it only goes for special attack. The more you try to lower its attack with Intimidate, it won't do a thing. Because Mismagius only special attacking moves, so the strategy I learned is to raise your special defense through the roof before you take on that Mismagius. A good thing doing is getting a Luxio with the move Charge, because the more you charge, the higher your special defense will be. Let's see. Their Pokemon. Unfortunately, no, Fluttershy. There is no one else new that is godlike in Pokemon. All we really have is Arceus right now. I mean, yes, we do have Mew as well, who is the ancestor of all. But yes, we also have Arceus, but sadly we do not have another Pokemon quite like Arceus yet. Something similar might be Type Null, since it has the ability to change its typing of other Pokemon, but yeah, that's kind of it. When I think of actually something like that, I'm reminded of something. Just one second. Does anyone remember the Poodle Furfrou? You know, that one that you could give it haircuts and also change its style? I've got a really, really cool idea about Furfrou, what could have been done and why it would have been a great Pokemon. What if Furfrou learned a signature move, and depending on the haircut it had, also changed its typing? Like, what if Furfrou in the, what is that? My favorite one was the Pharaoh form, the Pharaoh haircut. What if in that form it turned into a rock type? I just think that would make it really cool that every haircut of Furfrou also resulted in it changing its typing. Like, we could have, like, that would be the fairy type one. I don't remember all the cuts names, but that's a good one. Maybe the one with the top hat could have been the, that was a good one. Dark typing would have been good. Actually, Psychic. Psychic would have been great because, yeah, Magician. Speaking of magic, I really am kind of thinking, I really do need to get the Abracadabra and Alakazam plushies. That's a line I have not talked about yet, and I really want to. Is there any lines that I haven't talked about yet that you want to talk about? Because I don't mind getting the plushies for them and talking about it. Just make requests. Puffy Sparkles, I just also want to thank you for last stream when you told me to do the Goodra line. I'm happy I did the Goodra line, but I also am going to say, is there magic in Pokemon? Sadly, no. It's more of psychic power, because I have a lot of psychic-type Pokemon, like Lugia, Mew, or even Mewtwo, for example. These are all psychic-type Pokemon. I guess a lot of people may forget that Lugia, despite being the diving Pokemon, isn't a water type. It's actually a... What's that card? Lugia is actually a water... Oh, hello, Padawan Chronicles. Good to see you. Lugia is not a water type. It's actually a psychic flying... It's kind of crazy to think that Lugia, this whole time, despite its name, the diving Pokemon, isn't really one. Sorry, I'm just grabbing some water. I'm just really thirsty. It's always fun to do these videos with all of you. Whew. Are there any Pokemon that you remember having a different typing before you realized what typing it really was? The one I remember so much differently is Magcargo. If you don't remember, Magcargo is a fire rock type. I always remember it being a pure fire type, but as time's gone on, I remember it being completely different. That's a line I haven't done yet, and I want to do that in the future, so yeah, we'll stay tuned for that one. I got weapon mitts for that thing. That thing literally has a fire body. Surprisingly, other than having the ability Flame Body, it can also have a different one. I don't remember what the Flame Body ability is, but it does have a much different ability. I mean, I am a Pokemon professor, but I'm not a computer, so I don't remember everything that comes out there. But hey, not everyone can remember everything. Is there any other Pokemon that you want me to cover in the future? I can only do Gens 1 to 6 right now. We only have the Sitting Cuties for that. Are there also any games that you ever want me to look back in retrospective with sometimes? I know that in 2016 or 2026, I forgot why, I will do it in retrospect of Sun and Moon, because it'll be 10 years since those games came out. Alola is a really good region. Even though it's the region that doesn't have any gyms, I kind of respect it for being different. It did introduce Totem Pokemon, and I hate to say it, but I'm one who loved Totem Pokemon. In fact, when they brought it back for Legends Arceus, and yeah, I was so excited when I was told it was called Titan Pokemon, but I'm like, I don't know if it's Titan Pokemon. As long as we take on Totem Pokemon or like the big ones, I'm game. I'm ready to take those on. It was always fun taking those things on, especially that it could sometimes provide a good challenge. I will admit, though, I am glad we don't have the SOS battles, as those were so annoying. I mean, granted, yes, it was helpful once in a while. We could do some good grinding there, and also, granted, we could find some shiny Pokemon doing that. I just hated SOS battles because you needed them to complete the Pokedex. Granted, yes, that we could find level 5, I think, find a level 5 Salamence in the wild. That was pretty cool to find. But I will say, though, it was kind of annoying to think that that's kind of all we really got to get in the future. I mean, yes, it is cool and all, but it's annoying to think that for one video, I had to grind for... I had to spend like an hour looking for... What's that Pokemon called? What's that Pokemon? A Gabite in the wild when I was... It was so annoying. You had to keep calling for help, and then finally the Gabite appeared after like turn 50. Like, finally a Gabite. I mean, yeah, it does have some cool things that work, but at the same time, it could also be really annoying because... Let's say you finally got that Pokemon alone, and then it calls for help and help arrives. It's like, great, now I have to beat that other one up and then have to try to catch it and pray that help doesn't appear. What do we got here? Is the platypus Pokemon still useful? Is the platypus Pokemon... What platypus Pokemon? Talking about Psyduck or anything? Psyduck's a good Pokemon. I actually... Do we have a platypus Pokemon? Because I don't know if we actually do. Oh, welcome back, Puffy Sparkles. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good dinner with your family. I mean, if we do have a platypus Pokemon, please bring it to my attention, because I don't think we do. Huh. Is there any other, You know what I think would be a really fun region to do? Pokemon Ash had with his friend. You mean Oshawott? Is that what you're talking about? Oshawott is... I don't know if that was a platypus Pokemon. If I'm wrong, just let me know, because I don't remember Ash having a platypus Pokemon. I remember him having Oshawott. I remember him having... trying to look at all the water types that he had. I don't think he had a platypus on his phone. It looked like a duck also. No, I kind of can't. Huh. I just cannot seem to think about which one it was, but okay. What do you... Oh! Are you talking about Galarian, What's the yellow one? It's the yellow one. Do you know which one it could be, Puffy Sparkles? Because I'm kind of at a loss of words. I don't think we ever met a platypus Pokemon. It'd be cool. You know, it'd be a really cool Pokemon that we could probably get for the series that we surprisingly have never gotten? A sponge Pokemon. It's a little weird, but I just think that it'd be... Is it Psyduck, actually? Because Psyduck is not... Yeah, Psyduck is not a platypus Pokemon. No, Psyduck is not platypus. It's based on a duck. It's the one that constantly gets terrible headaches. But hey, Psyduck is a very popular Pokemon. Did you know that before we had Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, it was instead going to be Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Psyduck? The only reason why they chose not to use it was they just thought it'd be kind of annoying that it'd be two different yellow Pokemon. I mean, I respect that for being different, being like, let's go Pikachu and let's go Eevee. But yeah, I guess Psyduck would have been fun to get. Wait, I just thought of something. I just thought it was like funny. You know how people say that if we had Bidoof, we'd have Pokemon Brown Vision? Would Pokemon Let's Go Eevee technically be Pokemon Brown? I don't know. It just seems like a funny idea. And there go my subscribers. But I don't know. Pokemon. I mean, did anyone like the Pokemon Let's Go games? I know I was not really. I mean, I played it. I thought it was fun, but I just hated the whole how we battle people system. I just kind of wish that instead of it being, oh, here's Pokemon. Like, oh, look, Pokemon. So go catch it or just run away from it. I kind of miss the whole battle mechanic. I'm just glad that was a one-time deal only. I don't know if I'd want to see a Pokemon Let's Go Johto game because I don't know how you'd actually do a Let's Go Johto game. I mean, I guess we'd have Let's Go Wooper, but what would we have as the second thing? Huh. I mean, Wooper is a good Pokemon and all, but I actually haven't covered that one next year. Are there any Pokemon that you want me to cover next year? Because I'm honestly willing to cover a brand new Pokemon for several things. So, next year is the Year of the Snake. Should I do a month dedicated to snake Pokemon, maybe? Or reptile Pokemon? I don't know. I mean, I did one on dragons this year because Dragon Dynasty, because it was the Year of the Dragon. Should I do one next year for snakes? Huh. Yeah, that would be great. The only thing I mean, I know how I would end the month of the snake month, but of course I'd have to start it off on a good note. Maybe we'd start off with something like Seviper or maybe Arbok and Ekans, who we do know is Cobra and Snake spelled backwards. Actually, that's the thing a little bit about Arbok. I kind of wish Arbok got some more love went on. I mean, it's cool and all. We got it's called Galarian Weezing, and we got what we got Galarian Weezing. We had Alolan Muck and Grimer, but I kind of wish we got a regional variant for Arbok. That would have been great. And plus, Arbok wasn't the Pokemon that was just somewhat there. It was owned by a main character, being Jessie in the anime. I just kind of wish that Arbok got some more love as time went on. On a really interesting fact, though, Koga, who's the Poison-type gym leader in Kanto, of every Poison-type that was introduced in like pure Poison-type Pokemon that was introduced in Gen 1, Arbok is so far the only pure Poison-type Pokemon he has never used in any battle, whether he's a gym leader or an Elite Four member. I don't know, I just find that really... What's another Pokemon that... If there was a Pokemon... Since we haven't had every single typing paired up with everything yet, what would you want to see paired up with? One of my friends gave me a really cool idea the other day. What if we had a region based off of Greece, and the Fire-type starter was a Fire Horse? But here's what gets cooler about it. First stage, the Fire Horse the horse gains a horn, and then in the final stage, it gains wings, so it becomes an Alicorn, but it wouldn't be Fire Flying. Instead, it would be Fire Fairy, and it would also be the very first Fire Fairy type ever. I don't know, do you think that'd be a cool idea to have an Alicorn as the stage starter? Since we've never had a Pegasus Pokemon, that'd be fun. I mean, we also could just get another Pegasus out there. That'd be pretty cool, too. Turtle Pokemon is also really fun. I agree. Two Flutterby. Turtle Pokemon are a lot of fun. I love turtles. Of course, we can never forget the first ever turtle Pokemon ever, Squirtle. Like I said before in my video about the whole the Squirtle line, you can't beat the power of Shell Shock or even Turtle Power. Yep, I like turtles. Some people like to say that. It's kind of cute, but it's true, though. Turtles are cute. Sorry, need to take a drink after talking a lot. Turtles have not been paired up with everything yet. You think a poison-type turtle would look pretty cool? I mean, we haven't had every turtle paired up with everything. What do you think would be a great typing to be paired up with other one that we haven't had yet? If you think about it, we haven't had a rock and ghost. We haven't had a fire and fairy. We have not had steel and normal. Ice and normal. I'm trying to go through like things I know that we have not had yet. I think that we really could have a lot of cool things next region. I will say this though. I do think it is crazy to think that, oh, hello that Baneri. Nice to meet you, friend. Hope you're enjoying the stream. It is kind of crazy to think that we're almost very close to it, where almost every typing has been paired up with each other. One thing that we need more than anything next generation is a dragon bug type. Of course, as I've said many times before, I think that there's two Pokemon I think that should have gotten the bug and dragon typing. Flygon, of course, and of course, Bruh. Because of what we know happened in Legends Arceus with the snail thing, I think that would have been cool if they were bug dragon. And this also would have been the first time the bug typing was gained. But let's be honest here, I think a lot of us think that Flygon should have been the Fire Fairy. Yeah, I agree. What typing do you think should be Fire Fairy? You think it should be the starter that's a Fire Fairy? It'd be fun if we got ourselves a starter that became the Fire Fairy typing? Or do you think that we should find a Fire Fairy in the next generation? Also, I've always said this many times, but the sound typing would be amazing. It definitely would blow the Stellar type out of the water. Mainly for the fact that we've had a lot of Pokemon that are based on sound, that have a lot of things going with sound. I mean, I think would be a good one. Starter, well, anything right? Yeah, both of them do work. I think that having a starter Pokemon, a starter that's a sound typing, a starter turned into a sound typing. Turtle. Turtles are good. Huh. I mean, how about this? How about I ask all you this? If you could have a starter, what should if you could make the starters, would the fire, the grass, and the water type be? Base them off whatever you want. They could all be reptiles, they could all be mammals, they could all be birds. I don't care, I just want to know what your idea is. Breaks in is a fire poke. Fire. Yeah, did you think it was a fire and psychic type? Doesn't gain the psychic typing until it evolves into... What's that one called? Does not gain the psychic typing until it evolves into Delphox. Delphox is a good Pokemon, though. I'm definitely going to cover that here. I don't know when, but I know I am going to talk about that one. Delphox is one of... I mean, as much as I do love Greninja, I do think Delphox is a very pretty Pokemon. Foxes are really cool. Wish I could do a Fox Month thing. I already did the evolutions all together, so maybe I could do a whole Fox Month. Yes! Yes, that Baneri's better gives Cinderace an evolution because it looks so smart. You know what they should do? They should have Cinderace in the Colossian form be Fire Electric. That would be a great combo. We've actually never had a Fire Electric type. Before you say, what about Rotom? That's a form, not a real Pokemon. I think Fire and Electric would look amazing there. Plus, it would make sense of why it's fast. Now we actually have a new thing. We'd get Pyro Ball, of course, but now we could probably get Electric Striker or something, or Shock Striker. Shock Striker, that sounds like a cool name. Cinderace was also my starter. Nice to know that, Baneri. I love Cinderace. I mean, I liked Scorbunny when I first saw that thing that day, and I'm like, okay, I'm definitely going to choose that thing. In fact, I actually got the plushie for it back in 2019 when they were so close to coming out. Scorbunny is a really good starter. Also, it technically is, if you think about it, the only pure Fire-type starter. Because if you think about it, Typhlosion at one point was a Fire Ghost type, so it used to be a dual type before it became a pure Fire type. But I guess that now makes Cinderace and Typhlosion the only pure Fire-type starters. Also, cool note. Like a dog plushie. Yeah, definitely we do need one of those. You know, we really do need Dashbun as a plushie. I like... What's that thing called? I like Fido. Fido is really cute. It's good we got a plushie of that. But we need the Dashbun plushie. It's really cute. A big dough dog. Well, or compute. Yes, we probably will get that in Generation 10. I hope that Generation 10 brings us a lot of cool... You know what I really hope Generation 10 brings back? I hope Generation 10 brings all the gimmicks we had, like Mega Evolution, Gigantamax, Z-Moves, Terrastal. I think it'd be cool if you could decide what you wanted for that battle of how it should go. Though, I will say, though, I think Mega Evolution, it's okay that we haven't had it for a while, but maybe we do get it back for Legends Z to A, and we get even better Mega Evolutions. Maybe we'll finally see Flygon evolve, Mega Evolve. Unfortunately, as Ken Sugimori said, he had an artist block when he was trying to design Mega Flygon. Well, it's been years. Hopefully that artist block is gone, and we got a better one coming. Let's see. Oh, what was your idea? What's your idea, that Baneri, for an electric Pikachu clone? I'm kind of curious. I always like seeing the Pikachu clones. Let me get some water. Let's hear your idea, because I wanna hear it. Sorry, everybody. Talking a lot makes me have to read a lot. I know we always call them the Pew clones. I will admit, though, I do think Pawmi, Pawmo, and Pawmot are a really solid line. I didn't like them at first, but when I caught one and it helped me out on the journey, I changed my tune to them. I think they're really fun. If we got a generation... What do you think the region should be based on for Generation 10? I personally would love to go to Australia for a region, or even Italy. What do you think would be good? Should we go back to Japan region, or should we go someplace else? Think we should go maybe to someplace like, I don't know, maybe Russia, maybe the Nordic regions, maybe the... what's another one? I don't know. I'm fine with anything. Egypt would also be pretty fun. Oh, if not that for Generation 10, we should totally get an evolution. Let's get a Ghost-type evolution, a Ghost and a Rock-type evolution. One of them being based off of, like, it's a calm spirit. One of them being a Pharaoh-like thing. This would be cool. What if you had to take Eevee to this specific spot and give it the item, the Pharaoh's Crown? That'd be a really cool thing. I want Dog Starter, but yeah. Dog Starter would be great. Fortunately, I don't know how it would work, but it would be fun if we got a Water-type Dog Starter, considering that we've had a Fire-type dog, and we've also had a... have we actually had a Grass-type? We have not had a Grass-type yet. We actually have a Water-type Dog Starter. Russian Pokemon idea? I don't know. Maybe. I know that, Fluttershy. The idea of a Russian Pokemon based on... I don't know. Greece would also be a fun place to do a region based on. Of course, we'd have to go... There would be a bunch of ruins that we'd have to inspect and everything, but that would be a lot of fun. I know that Paldea was based on Spain, and it was a great region. You could definitely hear a lot of Spanish music. I gotta say, actually, replaying the games, I loved listening to the music. Pokemon. Let's see. Lemon Patchy. The tiny lemon Pokemon, pure electric type that evolves into an electric ground type. Huh. I actually like that idea. That's really cool, that Baneri. Well, maybe you could submit the idea. I mean, if I became a programmer, I would definitely do that. I had an idea, actually, if I would make my own Pokemon region. My region would be based on Australia, and I thought that the villainous team should be called Team Snare. Yes, it was kind of around the time when Team Flare came out, but the reason I thought Team Snare is, what if it was based in Australia and all the team is a bunch of poachers? Also, here'd be a really cool twist for who the main villain is of that region. The main villain would be Jay from the anime. The idea is that she survived and changed her name, decided she wanted to be a leader of something different, so all those grunts are basically her previous workers. I don't know. I think that would be a pretty cool thing. I'd love a Chimera Pokemon. That'd be a great legendary to have. Unfortunately, I don't know what typing it should be. Should it be flying something? I can't really think of what would be a good typing for it, though. I do think fairy flying, maybe? Fairy, I don't know. Ha! Illuminati in a Pokemon. Nah, that would never work in a million years. Funny idea, though, but can never work. Huh. A grass puppy. Huh, grass puppy. That'd be kind of cute for a grass type. Here's what... I made 3 starters before. The ones I created were Laflame, Pamboo, and Silkazard. Thought it'd be fun to have a alligator for a Pokemon. We've had a lot of crocodiles. We've not really had an alligator. Yes, we've had Feraligatr, but that's kind of it. I think we need an alligator Pokemon compared to all the crocodiles we've had. Don't get me wrong, Crocodile is awesome and all. It's just that I just feel alligators have been pushed to the sidelines for long enough and we need something different. A puppy Pokemon would be a lot of fun to have. What if that was like the other region? Like, what if that was the thing for the next region? It was based on normal house pets, that we had a cat, a dog, and a bird for the starters. Similar to what the Kanto starters were all based on, that they're all based on like typical pets, lizard, frog, and turtle. Be fun if it was like like pets that normal people, like normal pets that people have, birds, cats, and dogs. I can't decide what we should have. Definitely not what. Would it be hilarious though if we had a water cat? That'd be funny. We've already had a fire cat, so I don't think that could work again. I mean, have we had another one repeat with something like that? Only time we had something repeat like that was when we had Quaxley as the bird starter, since we already had Piplup as the water bird. But Piplup was a penguin and Quaxley is a duck. It's a little different. I mean, it'd be interesting if we had ourselves a fire type, considering the fact that we've already had Sprigatito and what's his name? Sprigatito and Litten. Sorry, I forgot that, everyone. Litten and Sprigatito, so finally we could complete the trio with a water-type cat. Maybe it's just one that really likes being in the water and evolves into a lion, or... I don't know, what kind of cats are good swimmers? Of course, it'd be fun to finally have then we could probably have a fire-type dog and maybe a grass-type bird. Let's just hope that the bird does not turn into a fighting type. I mean, I love bird Pokemon. I'm a bird trainer, but I'm kind of getting tired that all the bird starters we've had have become fighting type at one point. Blaziken, Quaquaval, and Hisuian Decidueye. As cool as Hisuian Decidueye is, I do have to say I do find it kind of annoying that became a grass fighting type. Grass fighting, if you didn't know, has a lot of weaknesses. Does have that major ×4 weakness to, what's that move called? To flying type moves. So yeah, I can definitely say that these are sometimes rather annoying. Another typing I think that, you know what I think is, what do you think is the worst dual typing ever? In my opinion, I have to say that, what's it called? I think the worst dual typing is Grass and Bug. That is shared by, that is the Paris and Parasect line. Also shared with the Swaddle, Leavanny, and Swaloon line. The only reason I think that Paris and Parasect have it the worst of everyone out there is because, if you think about it, Paris and Parasect have the ability to dry skin. So technically, a move like fire-type moves, which are already ×4 super effective on them, now become ×5 because they take extra damage because of the dry skin. That's ridiculous. They should have at least like a better thing. They should have just kept their effect spore ability. Do they really need dry skin? I guess the only time it would probably be okay is if you changed their if you took them out for, what's that called? If you terrestrialize them, then I think they'd be a little safer. Oh, thing. Interesting that binary grass Pokemon with a stage in 2 or 1 evolution might be considered a star, in my opinion. Like Bellsprout. Oh, that's kind of an interesting fact. Unfortunately, it's not, as they call it now, it's your first partner Pokemon, not your starter Pokemon. But that'd be kind of interesting if you could have starter Pokemon that are ones that you could catch out in wild. I guess Legends Arceus somewhat did this, as the starter Pokemon that are for the Sinnoh region are regular Pokemon that you can catch sometimes if you're lucky in the wild. But hey, that's a different thing. Speaking of Bellsprout, I was kind of excited that we got to see Bellsprout appear in the DLC. There's a lot of Pokemon that appeared in the DLC that have not appeared in any games for a while. I still will never get over for the fact that we did not get any of the elemental monkeys. Thundursa? That sounds like a really cool name. Yeah, that sounds like a really cool name for a electric-type bear. Thundursa. Because we already have the ring, but Thundursa, that sounds like a really cool name. I had a really cool name also for a bear Pokemon if we had as a starter. We could have Pamboo, then we could have Grizzleaf, and the final one, Ursagrowth. I don't know. Thundursa. So a legendary bear. I like that idea. That's a pretty cool idea. We've actually never had a legendary Pokemon that's a bear before. I want a legendary gorilla, if I actually am honest. We've never really... Have we had any monkey... Other than Zarude, I'm trying to think. Other than Zarude, who's a mythical Pokemon, we've never had a legendary monkey before. It'd be pretty fun if we got one. Speaking of monkeys, I'm kind of surprised we never had the elemental monkeys appear in any of the Switch games. Can only hope that Generation 10 changes that for good, that we finally get them to reappear. I also got to admit, though, I mean, I was thinking about next year do Monkey Month, because it'd be fun to talk about monkey Pokemon, but maybe we should wait for 2026, because other than that being the 30 years of Pokemon, that is the year of the monkey. Next year's the snake, so I might do a Snake Month video. I don't know exactly what day I'll do what month will be Snake Month, or what we'll call it, but I'd just rather it be something that actually rhymes, like goes together. Dragon Dusty, Spooky Season, Summer Splash. We'll think of something with snakes. Zeraora looks like I guess so. Zeraora does kind of look like an electric evolution of Zorua, but I think it's a very fine Pokemon to be on its own. I kind of wish it did get more attention. I kind of wish there was a movie that... I bet after Gen 6 is when they kind of stopped doing the movies with the normal anime, but I kind of would have really liked to have seen Ash and his classmates meet Zeraora for something. Maybe it's just me, but I kind of like those things in the anime. I just like those little anime movies or even anime specials where Ash and his friends met the legendary or the mythical Pokemon for something, kind of like Keldeo movie. Would have been really fun to see Ash and his classmates go for a field trip to someplace else and meet a new legendary. I don't know. What do you think? Think that would have been a fun idea? What made the thing a little more fun to work with? I just think that it would be fun to go. That maybe Ash and his friends learn from Zeraora about something and then they do something. I mean, I think it was fine when it was in the movie, the power-ups. I think that they could have done a lot of different things with those movies. They're all good and all. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I'm kind of surprised that Gen 7 was the one that said, yeah, we don't need this with Ash and his friends anymore. A baby evolution for Autumn. So want to talk about baby Pokemon? Anyone want to talk about baby Pokemon? Let's talk. I might actually do a video on that next year when I talk about baby Pokemon. I guess if I am to look at baby Pokemon, one thing I can kind of look at is, I'm surprised we haven't gotten a baby Kangaskhan yet. Cute name. Ottery. That's a pretty cute name. I'm actually surprised we haven't gotten a baby Kangaskhan. We have Kangaskhan, Mega Kangaskhan, but I think a baby Kangaskhan would have been really cute. There are some Pokemon that, are introduced in one generation that get a baby next one later on. I just think, you know what I think would have been... This is getting really weird, but it's a Pokemon that I kind of want to see get more that was introduced in Gen 7. Even though it wasn't, like, the most well-known, I think Veluza deserves a little bit more. My reason for that being is, I think that there was way more to Veluza than meets the eye. Other than this Pokemon basically filleting itself, I think this thing could actually evolve into something even better, and I kind of like to see a baby Pokemon version of that. It's possible because that thing fillets itself. Maybe it's possible that it does this to protect something else, like maybe young, or maybe it gets rid of some skin so it gets even faster, or even goes other ways. I don't know. Yeah, it lowers its defense. Maybe something else comes its way. Guess we'll find out maybe in Generation 10. Are there any Pokemon that were introduced in the recent generations that you think should get evolutions? Like standalone or anything like that? I mean, if I think of other baby Pokemon that I'd like to see is, I kind of would like to see them explore baby Meowth thing. Yes, don't get me wrong, it's been so many generations and Meowth can get... It's kind of strange you'd want a baby one now, but the idea is that when I look back at some of those... What are they called? Some of those Pokemon, I kind of can't help but be curious to know what could have come out of there. Like, what if we got a baby Meowth? What if we got a... Baby Meowth was one of them. I'm trying to think what's the other one. Baby Growlithe, or even a baby Doduo. I mean, if you think about it, some Pokemon that were left alone for so many generations finally got an evolution a long time later. Annihilate, in my opinion, if you think about it, been there for so many generations, and yes, we read so many funny stories about that. It gets so angry, it dies of anger. Turns out, it only dies because it comes back as Annihilate, which I think is pretty cool. I gotta admit also, I do had, what's that one called? Farigiraf was a pretty welcome addition to Girafarig, but let's not stop without talking about how great Bisharp is. Bisharp's amazing. And the more you think about it now, you really liked, what's the thing called? So, what's it called? King Gambit. Sorry, King Gambit. How did I mess that up? King Gambit was amazing for Bisharp. So glad we got that. If you think about it now with Bisharp, you can now give it the Evolite. And now because of the Evolite, Bisharp now will have stronger defense and special defense. That makes it even cooler now. I always liked Bisharp. Oh, what's that? A Flame Mouse Final Evolution. I've never heard of that. I'm sorry, I've never heard of that Pokemon. It sounds pretty interesting. Is it something that you made up? New anime, Pokemon Horizons. Would you like to see a movie of Pokemon Horizons? Like, would you like to see the Rising Voltaclers take on something big in a movie? Maybe meet Ash? I don't know. I think that would be, I think, kind of fun to see for a movie, that the Rising Voltaclers meet Ash Ketchum. Maybe it would be in the future when Ash is a little bit older, and by older, possibly over 11. Like, it's kind of funny to think about that Ash Ketchum did all the crazy things as a 10-year-old kid. He went to so many regions, he beat so many gym leaders, he beat Team Rocket and so many evil teams. The only thing he never could do in his journey was turn 11. Even Epic Rap Battles of History made a joke about that. Yeah, seeing Ash get a little older would be a lot of fun to Fluttershy. I just think it'd be pretty fun to see what other things that could have done with his life. I think it would have been fun to see Ash not just get older, but also see him as a better trainer. Glad that he finally did become a Pokemon Master. Unfortunately, it did come with the major drawback of, well, now you're a Pokemon Master, Mr. Ketchum. So, what's next? I'm retiring. You know, actually, I had a weird question for some of you. Should I ever do a video of top 10... Should I ever do a top 10 video of things that were never answered in Pokemon, whether it be the games or the anime? Because if you really think about it, there's some questions that I've been having for a very long time. One of the biggest questions I've had for a very long time about Pokemon is, why did Giovanni want Ash's Pikachu? Was that ever truly in the anime? Puffy Sparkles, I'm glad you'd be like a top 10 for the game. It'd be both the games and the anime. It'd be top 10 unanswered questions that we still have of Pokemon. Like, another question I'd have would be, why did Alola gyms? I don't know, I just think it'd be kind of interesting that I'd probably start off like, why does Alola not do gyms? Since we have one in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. It's not a real gym, but somewhat be something. You know, there actually is a character that was introduced in Alola that I would love to see come back for Generation 10. It's Ryuki. If you don't remember who Ryuki is, I'll jog your memory. He's the guy who challenges you to title defense that is the Dragon Rockstar. I think I really would have liked to have seen more about him. We got to see him in one episode of the anime. He was the one who was running the gym in Alola on Mele Island, but I kind of would have liked to see more what he done. Oh. That's interesting. Puffy Sparkles. I remember correctly, he wanted the Pikachu because he saw it was stronger for a Pikachu. You know, it's kind of crazy to think. In all that time that Team Rocket went after Ash, why did they just never go after a different Pikachu and just say, here you go, boss. Now what's our next assignment? I mean, don't you think that Team Rocket would have finally given it up after 30 years chasing a kid? 26 years, actually, chasing a kid. What's also kind of funny to think about with Team Rocket is the fact that since Pikachu is a mouse Pokemon and Meowth is a cat, Pikachu and Meowth were basically playing a game of cat and mouse for 26 years. And I guess Pikachu won because he never truly... Well, they did catch him a couple of times. I guess Pikachu won because he never did truly lose. Huh. Yeah, I could probably do that in the future for you, Fluttershy. Pokemon training for lore for dummies. If anyone wants to know. I could definitely start with the Sinnoh region, because the Sinnoh region has an amazing lore to talk about. All the way back with Arceus and everyone else out there. Give me a second. See if I can find Arceus or anything. I know I have an Arceus with me. Arceus. I'm sorry about this, trainers. There we go. Like I said, we definitely do have a lot of things we could talk on with Arceus as well as the other Pokemon. Pokemon rate, I will say that would be a lot of fun to think about. The Sinnoh region is also... I mean, does anyone else really like the Sinnoh region? I know I do. I mean, Sinnoh is a great region, as it was something that tried something that had never been done before. Sinnoh was the first time that Pokemon tried doing a lore thing. You could argue that we did have one somewhat introduced in Gen 3 and Gen 2, but I think it was when Gen 4 perfected it the best. Then Gen 5 made it even better with the Legendary Dragons. Trust me, we're trying to get that one for a very special video. This year I hit over 500 videos, so maybe I might try to save that one for video 1000 or thing. We're almost past the 500 mark, so who knows? Anything you'd want me to do for... Always love Sinnoh. I'm glad you like Sinnoh. Who's your favorite Pokemon introduced in the Sinnoh region? I actually think I could do a video about... definitely do something with that thing, with the Sinnoh problem. Does anyone know problem? Because if you don't, I'll explain it to you. Because I think all of us can relate to the Sinnoh problem. The Sinnoh problem... Does anyone know what the Sinnoh problem is? If you don't, I'll happily explain it to you. Just let me get a little more water. I'm just so thirsty. Oh, you're a fan of Chimchar. Yeah, Chimchar is a good Pokemon, Puffy Sparkles. Here's the problem. Here's the Sinnoh problem, which I talked about with a friend today. The Sinnoh region is a great region, but the major problem with it is the fact that... Sorry. Major problem is that everyone always has the same team. It includes your starter. Whatever starter you also get also would take out another thing. Maybe not everyone's same team, but 99% of the time, everyone's final end team consists of... let's take away the starter. The five major Pokemon that will always be on everyone's team would be end team will be Staraptor, Luxray, Garchomp, Floatzel, and Roserade. That's like the prime. That's the prime 5 Pokemon that always appear. But here's why I say like most of the time. I could also say I guess also Rapidash out in case you didn't get a fire type. Let's say you did your game choosing let's say you did your game choosing Turtwig as your starter. Well, your end team consists of Torterra, Rapidash. 9% of the time, your end team will consist of Torterra, Rapidash. What's that one called? Luxray, Staraptor, Garchomp, and 99%, and Floatzel. Or, let's say you did the opposite route. You said you wanted to go the route of using... You chose the route of Chimchar. So, in the end, your final team will have an Infernape, but instead of having... But you'll take away the Ponyta, and you'll have pretty much probably the same team there. Or, if you went the other route, you decided you were going to go down the Piplup route, that's also going to be the same, take away Floatzel, and you'll have a very similar team. It's because Sinnoh did not introduce... The big reason why Sinnoh is that way is because, as good as the region is, it was not generous enough to introduce a lot of Pokemon that were needed for everything. It does have... The region does have great starters, but unfortunately, it does not have everything. Garchomp is biased, LOL. Kind of true, though. Sorry, Puffy Spark. I don't hate Garchomp or anything. It's just that it's a great Pokemon introduced in Gen 4, but it probably the end of everyone's team. The final team. By final team, I mean the one that you get the champion on with. We always have different things that we use to take the champion on with, but a lot of the time, our final team consists of most of the team. That's the reason I also call it the Sinnoh problem, is because Sinnoh tried to be a bit of a different region. I applaud it for doing something different, but the big problem with Sinnoh is it introduced way too many evolutions. It introduced, I think what it introduced to us was, I forgot how many Pokemon it was, but I know it introduced 29 brand new evolutions, and I think 70, introduced 76 brand new Pokemon, and introduced 76 new Pokemon and 29 new evolutions. So that's the problem with Sinnoh. Too many evolutions were introduced. Don't worry, Thepanieri, you're good. Who knows, actually? I mean, there's people that did some... Not too Fluttershy. What does the planet look like with all these regions? Who knows? I know that there was a few drawings that some people made of what the planet looks like. The only ones that are definitely connected, without a doubt, are... Sinnoh and... Not Sinnoh, are they? They're Hoenn and Kanto, as you can see in the background. Also, if you look in the background, I have all my evolutions right over there. And my what are those called? The Hoenn starters. For those of you who may not know, if you ever look at the background of my videos, you'll always say I have plushies like this and a poster. I answered this before, but the reason I do this is I like to have like an idea of like what we're talking about and something relate to the typing or something. And I also always like to have a up in the background that says this is where we're at. Gen 10 Pokemon. Who knows what we're going to get for Generation 10. It's going to be a while till Gen 10 finally gets anywhere. We're probably going to have to wait till, like, next year, because I really cannot see... I cannot see Pokemon Day advertising Gen 10 coming out this year. The reason I think like 2026. My reason being is that 2026 marks 30 years since Pokemon began, and I think Generation 10 would be a fantastic way to say, welcome to Gen 10. Sorry, 30 years would say, yeah, it's time to go to Gen 10. When I think about Gen 10, I always think of Ben 10. Also, that is another thing I actually do want... There's another Pokemon I really want to talk about that I always loved that always remind me of Ben 10. In the future, I will do a Rotom episode. Rotom is a Pokemon that always made me think of Ben 10. Do you remember the... 1 second. Does anyone remember the alien upgrade from Ben 10? The one that always made me think of that show. Let's see. Power World is basically inspired by Team Rocket holding guns in the Pokemon Anthem. You know that there was actually an episode of Pokemon that was banned because they used guns? It was the Dratini episode. And because of that episode, Dratini never appeared in the original series. We had to wait till the Johto series when Claire used one. Just kind of crazy to think that that's how long it took for us to finally see that. Until then, the whole Pokedex was never complete. First gen Pokedex was never completed until Gen 2. What would be... Let's see. Yeah, I like Ben 10. It was a good show. I was a kid in the early 2000s. Late 2000s. I'm just saying, like, you know, like the 2000s. I feel so blessed I grew up in the 2000s because I got to watch so many great cartoons in those days. If I have time off Pokemon right now, I will say that as a kid, I do feel so blessed I grew up in what I call a golden age of cartoons. There was a great thing that came out. We had stuff like Danny Phantom, OG Teen Titans, Static Shock. What else am I thinking of? SpongeBob SquarePants was all there. Sorry, I'm just trying to think what's another good... Like, what are some, like, good cartoons you remember from the 2000s? I'm pretty sure if you say... I'll definitely have some good memories when I talk about them. My favorite one, of course, being the original Teen Titans. That was a good one. Ben 10 definitely was high on that list for me. I loved the old Cartoon Network. I miss the days when Cartoon Network was a lot of fun and really did have a variety of everything. Don't get me wrong, in the 2010s, they also had good shows also. We had Steven Universe, we had Radio Show, we had Adventure Time. We had a lot of good shows that appeared, and unfortunately, we also had some that were not so good there. But it's just kind of sad that there was a time where once in a while we get some not so great shows in the 2000s and 2010s, but that was like so little compared to what we had as time went on. They ruined a Samurai Pokemon. Are you talking about Samurai? Samurai, I think, looks really cool in both its normal form and Hisuian form. Did you know that the scimitars that are in its arms can also be used as weapons? I do think it's a little strange though that Samurott went from being bipedal to quadrupedal. You know, from Swat to Samurott. I still like it and all. I've chose it both games of Black and White and Black 2. I just kind of wish we got something a little bit different for its Hisuian form. Would have been a little cooler to see a thing more anthropomorphic. I mean, there are some that look a little different. You know, actually, I just thought of something. If Typhlosion. If Typhlosion is pure fire type in present day, and back in time it was fire and ghost. Does it got resurrected? Does it mean that it died, it was dead back in the time and resurrected? Like looking at Hisuian Decidueye, Alolan Decidueye, or present day's Decidueye, does that mean that as time went on, Decidueye died? I don't know. Just some interesting theory to think of. Ha! That's funny. Your logic that Zorua can turn into different people and Zor can turn into very aliens. It's very funny that Baneri. You know, I've always had this really interesting theory, though. Not theory, but I've always thought of this interesting thought for what's his name? I've always loved Zoroark and Zorua with the Hisuian forms. They were really cool. I do think, though, that the coolest thing about the I always wondered, actually, something about the Zoroark, because Zorua cannot mimic people's viz while Zoroark can. It does make you wonder, do you think that Zoroark can do that? Do you think that maybe Hisuian Zoroark can do that same thing? I actually have a theory about Hisuian Zoroark, that it's actually been with us this whole time and we never realized it. My theory about that was, remember that lady in before Snowpoint City that has that you go into the house and she gives you the spell tag, which boosts the power of ghost type moves? What if she's living Hisuian Zoroark in Sinnoh and we just didn't realize it until the game came out? Have you ever heard of Beyblade? Yes, I have heard. Yes, but Napaneri, I've heard of Beyblade. I was not a huge fan of that series, but it was interesting. I did know a lot of people that played that. What was funny is I remember that back in the day, there were some people that used to do battles with both Blade and Ninjago. It was really funny to watch two people do that. Huh. I think that there actually was a Dragon Oni that you... and two Fluttershy. I think there was a Dragon Oni that you could wear in Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm not entirely sure, but if there was, it would have been really cool to wear. It actually would have been fun. Did they ever incorporate that in the thing? That would have been a lot of fun, actually, if they had, for Oni, you could have worn in the ancient days that actually looked like, actually had a typing, so you could wear something really nice to go surveying with. Of course, the survey suits were cool. Oh my gosh, you know what I just realized? You know what Generation 10 really needs most of all? Voice actors. That's what we need for the Pokemon games going forward. Voice actors. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's okay to use your own voice for a lot of things, but I think compared to, like, some stuff I've seen recently, I would love to see voice actors in Pokemon. The moment that really made me want to see that was in Pokemon Sun and Moon when Lusamine says, "When did you start becoming so beautiful?" I really think it would have been beautiful if they actually voice actors to that thing. Maybe Generation 10 will finally give us that. We somewhat had that in Pokemon Legends Arceus, where we would jump the grunting sounds like, huh, huh. That'd be really... It was fun that we finally got this Pokemon voice actors in action, but that was like a very small step forward. I think it'd be great to get one. Huh. You know, if Pachirisu and Emolga both are squirrels, they should have a same pre-revolution never met. Huh, interesting idea. We've had a lot of, we've had a couple of Pokemon. I think we do need some... We definitely need more rodents that are not normal type or even electric type. It'd be fun to actually get some rodents that are different things, like getting a fire one, or maybe getting ourselves a water one. Maybe even a ground or even a rock type would be fun. Don't get me wrong, I know that usually we have, like, the first route rodent thing, like a Rattata, what's his name? Yongoose, we got a lot of those things. It's fun and all. I just kind of wish they'd get, like, more different the typings. Huh. I guess another thing I could look at that I've always been interested in seeing is, there were some Pokemon I think that need regional variants. One of them that I've been pushing for a long time is regional variant of Poochyena and Mightyena. But there's one variant Pokemon I would love to see go rogue. Let me find it, because it's a good one. Dragonite. This is my idea if we had one based on the Nordens. What if instead of Dragonite being a dragon flying type, it was a dark type? Like, the idea is that the whole Dragonite line is dark because Vikings hunted them into extinction. So, as a way to survive, they become very dark and very harsh Pokemon. So, Well, we know Dragon be a Pokemon that saves people from drowning. What if these things actually capsize ships because they really can't stand it? I don't know. I think that'd be a fun idea. Let me think about another thing. I mean, there's a lot of other Pokemon that look really cool with regional variants. We got a Alolan Raichu. Imagine if we got Imagine if every member of the Pikachu line was a Alolan in that game. I'm okay that some Pokemon evolve into getting regional variants or anything, but I kind of wish that we had all these. Yeah, thank you, Puffy Sparkle. I mean, could you think of different? I mean, we actually had other than the Goodra line? Have we actually had any other dragon types that have dragon types that actually have had a regional variant? I don't think we have actually, but if we do, that'd be great. A Pokemon sitcom. That sounds pretty funny. Did they do something like that before? That someone tried making. Didn't Smosh do a joke like that or something? Anyone remember Smosh? How funny they were? I think Smosh did that before, where they had like their like new Pokemon crosses. I don't know, but it would be pretty funny. Definitely would be a funny idea for a Pokemon sitcom on Netflix or something, because I could definitely see them putting all that stuff. I don't know. I mean, it probably would be originate in Japan, but if it was we have a live action Pokemon series coming up, I think on Netflix that's going to take place in the Kanto region. But you know what would be really funny? What if we had a sitcom, or what if we had a talk show with Team Rocket or something bad about that? I don't know, it would be pretty funny if there were all these like villainous teams that come together about like how their plans were foiled. Or what if someone did like a sketch about that, like all teams fight each other, that Team Rocket is like coming up with a plan, and then these other teams come by and say, "Oh, your plan is stupid because so and so," and then Team Rocket would clap and be like, "Oh, really? You just want to drown everyone out there because you're a water Pokemon." They could definitely side with Team Magma, being like, "We want more land." Oh, there you go. You got something to sell. Now that's pretty evil. What's this? It would be funny. That is a funny idea. I could actually learn how to make something like that. I think it'd be funny, like the day in the life of a Team Rocket grunt. A Liepard. Oh, that's a cool idea. A Liepard regional variant that's an Ice and Dark. Though I kind of can't help but think about, what's that one called? Chien-Pao. Chien-Pao. That's the Dark type leopard that existed in Gen 9. It's the one that has the dagger teeth. It's a really cool looking Pokemon, but I like your idea also, Puffy Spark. It'd be really cool if we did get a leopard version, the Clouded Leopard. It really would be cool. Yeah, that's a good idea as well. Huh. Ice and Dark. That's a good typing. Fortunately, it does have a ×4 weakness to fighting type. You know what would be a really cool typing, though, put together? What if we finally had a Rock and Ghost type? I kind of find it ironic that Pokemon that both, what are those two called? I find it a little ironic that both Spiritomb and Sableye Pokemon are living in the caves and are associated with rocks are not Rock and Ghost, but rather Dark and Ghost. I don't know, it's just a little ironic. A Liepard variant sounds really cool. Anyone else have an idea for a regional variant that you'd like to see in the future? Starter-wise as well? I know that eventually I do want to see Kanto starters actually get regional variants. I think it'd be great to see Charizard with a Fire Dragon regional variant. Let's be honest here, we've been waiting for that for a very long time. Weasel's pure water, keep calling it a fight. Huh, a Weasel is a fighting type. That sounds kind of cool. That sounds like a cool idea, a fighting type Weasel. Well, maybe it could have been. Who knows? I mean, look at some other Pokemon that had a complete different type change. Tauros went from normal to pure fighting in Paldea. Same with, what's that Pokemon called? Same with Farfetch'd, from normal flying to being pure fighting. And then also got Surfetch'd. That could happen. A Dragon Fairy type Pokemon. We do have, what's it called? We do have Altaria when it Mega Evolves. Unfortunately, Altaria actually has one of the coolest lines ever if you really think about it. Everyone changes a typing. When it starts off as Swablu, it's normal flying, then it becomes Dragon flying, and finally when it Mega Evolves, it becomes Fairy Dragon. That is really cool. That would be really cool. Imagine if we actually had a line that could do something like that. Black Siberian Fox for... Oh, that actually sounds really cool. A Black Siberian Fox. We already have a Dark type, but maybe we could have a Poison Dark. Maybe we could have a Fox Pokemon. I don't know. That sounds like a cool idea. A bear for a Russian theme. That also sounds pretty cool. Should it be a fighting type bear? Or should it maybe be a fire type bear? I don't know. Let's go with something I actually has to do with like or something. Electric type bear, like you said earlier, does sound pretty fun. But I don't know, maybe a fire type bear would be pretty cool. So basically kind of like the bear, except this one is one that's responsible for forest fires. I don't know. There's a lot of things you could do with bears. What about a psychic type bear? We already have Blood Moon Ursaluna, but that would also... White bear, kind of like a horse with flames. We have a horse with flames. We have Ponyta and Rapidash. I'm kind of surprised that we have not gotten a regional variant of Rapidash. No, I lied. I'm dumb. We did get a regional variant of Rapidash and Ponyta. We got that in Galar. But I'm surprised we haven't gotten one that's flying type. I mean, what if we had one that was pure flying type, and then it became flying fairy once it evolved? It was flying type as a Pegasus, and then we got a Alicorn, so it's flying and fairy type. I don't know. What do you think? Think that would sound like a really cool idea? Roadrunner Pokemon. Huh. I like birds, so I kind of like that idea. Though, would Espartha... What does Espartha count as that? It is a... what's that Pokemon called? Would Espartha count as a Roadrunner? A emu or an ostrich Pokemon? I don't know. That was pretty cool. Oh, your idea. Volpe, the fairy normal type, and a Skippy Fox. A Skippy Fox Pokemon. Rival to Zorua. That sounds actually kind of cool, Volpe. What would it evolve into, though? Would it also... Think we should also get another Kitsune Pokemon? I can't help but actually kind of want to get a legendary Kitsune Pokemon. Maybe that would be a fun thing to do for Generation 10. Go back to Japan and get some creatures that are based off Japanese mythology. Maybe we can get something like a Kitsune Pokemon that goes that way. Maybe it could be a Fire and Ice type one that, it, you know, can chase the idea of, like, you know, fire and ice, because sometimes we ice foxes and we have fire foxes, so put them together as one. I think that would be a cool one. Or it could be a fire fairy fox. I don't know. What do you think? I do know that we need to get some new typings that we haven't gotten yet. A speedster. Is there anything else that anyone would want that... Anything else that you think would be great for Pokemon to finally have? All I know is that I would really like to see a... what's that one Pokemon called? I do want to see a Fire Fairy version. I really am not trying to go for wishful thinking. It's just that I think a Fire Fairy was a really cool typing that has not yet been done, and it would be great to finally see those two paired up as one. I guess if I was to save any Pokemon return for the next generation, I'd like to see Ho-Oh and Lugia come back. I kind of would like to see a remake again with Gold and Silver. I will say that even though Johto is not my all-time favorite region because it does have a lot of problems, it would be nice to see Johto in the 3D era, as it's currently the only one that has not yet been... Only game that has not... Next to Unova, it's the only game that has not yet been put into the 3D era. Technically, we were in Unova for the DLC, but I'm not counting it because I'm pretty sure we're going to get that for Generation 10. If you think about it, there's always that same pattern we have. We have usually whatever game we get a remake in is usually double of what it was. Only exception being Fire Red and Leaf Green, as we did not have... was not double. We got Generation 2 remakes for Gen 4. We got Generation 3 remakes for Gen 4 remakes, which we don't like to talk about, for Gen 8. So Generation 10 definitely give us Generation 5 remakes. I can only hope that they learned from the past and don't do what they did again. They actually don't give Ilka the whole thing about, like, yeah, just base it off the same games. Even though, I will say this though, even though I'm not trying to defend Diamond and Shining Pearl, but I will say one thing. The fact that you were able to change clothing, even though it was kind of a limited amount, it is kind of crazy to think that's one thing that they do have over on Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. One thing I just kind of can't love about I just kind of hate about the game. It was Gen 6. They brought everything from Gen 6 to the remakes, except for changing clothes. Wouldn't it have been fun if you got to wear original Ruby and Sapphire suits again, or maybe even wear the Emerald suit? like, it was that both May and Brendan's outfits were based on the Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald all together, but I think it would have been a little more fun if you got to wear the original outfits, maybe with a few new details added to them. I don't know. What do you think? If there was a game that they were going to remake for Generation 10, which one would you want to see for the Switch 2? Anyone that, even if they were already remade, what would you like to see get another chance? Any takers? I'm happy to hear any of your opinions if you have an idea for what should come at next for Generation 10. Classic Red and Blue. Really? Classic Red and Blue? Kanto's been remade enough times. I think we need something different than Kanto. Yes, I did ask for your opinion, but that's kind of my thought, though. We don't need another Red and Blue remake. We've had like 20 of those. We've had 3 of those already. We've had Fire Red and Leaf Green, as well as Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. We need something different. So, minus Gen 1, what other games should be remade? I'm all ears. Anyone? Because, you know, I feel like Ben Stein in the movie Ferris Bueller. Anyone? Anyone? Interesting idea. Vixon, the Vision Pokemon, Psychic Fairy, Visible, the rousing Pokemon, Fairy Fighting Pit Pokemon. Interesting. I like your idea for the foxes. Maybe you should drawing. You know, sometimes drawing, you might get some attention for that. Maybe Pokemon will hire you. You never know. Sometimes, like, you could just draw something and then something great will happen. So, yeah. Who knows? I don't know. Sometimes, like, good things happen to those that just do something. No. It's the Mori-Puffy spot. That's a great idea to go back to the Alola region. Alola was a great region. It would be go back to it again and see what's changed. Maybe we could go back to it for a Legends. Maybe we could learn more about, what's his name? Necrozma in that game. What if we went to the Ultra World in that time and met completely different Pokemon that we met before? As Poipo, Poison Ultra Beast Pokemon said, in the other world, it's a common starter Pokemon there. So it'd be interesting to start from a different world and maybe learn all about Moon. It does make you wonder, though, are Sun and Moon a part of the core? I know they're the core series games, but it kind of feels like, with the way the story went for them, it kind of feels like they kind of fell like in a different dimension. Again, it's just my idea, but it would be fun to go back to Alola once more. Alola was fun. Fun fact, by the way, about Alola, the character who's also the captain, Minna, she's the only character from Generator in every game, including Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, as we get to meet her when she was younger in the Kanto region. I will say, though, I didn't think that how far fairy typing has gone. I mean, fairy typing was cool when it was introduced, but it really has come very far compared to where it was. It's a good typing, though. What do you think we should get for the next typing? Think we should get sound typing? Should we get space typing? What do you think would be good? Someone one time told me that we should get space typing because there are some Pokemon that are not of this world that come from space, like the Clefairy line as well as the Deoxys, even the Elgyem and Behem line. It would have been cool, actually, if we did get this thing. Just makes you wonder, what would space type be weak to and what would it be strong against? Maybe it would be weak to Psychic type, since Psychic is somewhat like Light. Because if you think about it, I think that Psychic is a fancy way of saying Light. My only reason for that is if you think about the members of the Light Trio, all 3 of them being Leo, Necrozma, and Lunala are all Psychic type Pokemon. So I do think that Psychic is somewhat of a fancy way of saying Light type. Don't get me wrong, of course Psychic has their own ability using Mind over Muscle, but I do think that Light would actually make a little more sense. Let's see. Maybe weak to ground. Yeah, possibly. Space typing would be weak to ground. Maybe because there's 0 gravity in space, but on the planet, bam. Let's see. It would be interesting if we... I mean, compared to what you said too, Fluttershy, about having a sympathizing with a villain, there was one villain I think that a lot of us could somewhat sympathize with, Guzma. He wasn't really a bad guy. He was just kind of a misunderstood person. He wanted to be a trial captain, and he failed his trial, and so he made Team Skull to pretty much as a safe haven for all those that were also trial dropouts like him. I think Guzma was a pretty fun villain compared to like so many others that were all like, we're power-hungry villains. Guzma's more like, hey, I'm just kind of here, doing whatever. Yes, he did work with Lusamine and they went to Ultra Space, but there's a bunch of funny things that he did. My favorite thing about Guzma always will be how he tried to catch a Pokemon that he just ran at it. Always makes me laugh, and I like to believe that's how he caught his Wimpod. It's just funny to think that Guzma could do all that and just, like, trying to catch a Pokemon, not using a Pokeball or a Pokemon, just rushing at the one, like, I'm gonna catch you. Boom! I don't know. Sometimes it can be very funny. Oh boy. It's almost been going on for almost 3... We've been at this for an hour and a half. Is everyone... Should we end this? Everyone think we should give this an end? I'm also curious to ask one more thing. Should I add subtitles to my shorts going forward? My shorts were doing really good for a while, and then they kind of stopped. What do you think I should do to improve them? I did stills, I did clips. What else? Do you think titles is what's missing? I'm just curious to know. I really want to go farther up for all of you. I want to do another live stream when I hit 3,000 subscribers. It's been great getting as far as I have, but there's still more I really want to do with it. So if there's any ideas you have, please just let me know in my videos or even my other shorts. I want to keep moving for all of you. I just really want to be a good Pokemon professor. Been trying my hardest. Are there any regions that you'd like to see pinned against each other? Are there any, like, different regions that you think would be cool to see against one another? Like Hoenn versus Sinnoh, or Sinnoh versus Unova? They'd all have, like, really cool names. Like, the first one I definitely would call... Oh, thank you, Puffy Sparkles. I think I'm definitely going to try to do for next week. It's fun making these shorts for you. Definitely takes me a lot of time. But I guess we're also going to see a lot of other shorts happening next week when I do the Pokemon calendar. This is something that I cannot wait to do. Tonight, I guess at 12 o'clock, for my first opening of it. I wonder what we're going to get out of here. There's so many things that we could get. There could be a lot of good things, and there could also be a bunch of bad things. But I definitely will put subtitles and captions in my shorts going forward. So, I think with as far as we've gone, this should be where we're ending right now. So, thanks for tuning in, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed learning this live stream and talking to everyone. I'm going to box that tonight. It's going to be one pack at a time. It's going to be a short every day. It's like, think of it as 25 days of Christmas. Every day we open it, and we're going to open and find a good surprise inside. Does that work with you? Just tune into the shorts. I'm going to post them every day for December. I'm also going to try to post... I'll try to do normal pack openings as well. So, yeah. Hopefully you subscribe to the channel and you stay tuned for what happens next. But it's been very fun, trainers. I think we're going to end this here. Thanks for tuning in for this live stream. I'm glad that so many of you were here for it. Hope that you left your likes. Hope that some of you subscribed to the channel. But whatever happened, I'm just glad that I was here to have a great audience like all of you. Oh, thank you so much, Puffy Sparkles. I hope that you're excited to see what comes next. So, stay tuned, everybody. And if you liked what you saw, just likes and... I already said that, though. But, well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Palm out.